The ANC is defending Public Enterprise Minister Pravin Gordhan after what it calls physical acts of intimidation by the EFF. The Red Berets tried to prevent Gordhan from delivering his department's budget speech in Parliament yesterday. The EFF opted to use intimidation rather than debate and deliberation in support of their views, thus undermining Parliament's program, says the ANC. It's calling on parties to defend the House's dignity and deal with instances of chaos and anarchy without fear or favor. ANC National Spokesperson Pule Mabe joins us now in studio to discuss this issue further. Now, tell us why, in your view, this is the behavior that should be. I mean, you want Parliament's leadership to deal decisively with this issue.
Well, evening, Vuyo, and evening to the many viewers of the ENCA throughout the country. It's quite worrying. I mean, Minister Pravin Gordhan, a deployee of the African National Congress, who also sits in a National Executive Committee, expected to deliver a budget vote, which is necessary to outline to the country the sort of plans that the department is charged to lead will be executing over the year ahead. Then when he is disrupted with what looked like physical intimidation and direct physical attack, what that does is that it devalues the standing of Parliament. I mean, Parliament is the apex body that is supposed to carry the aspirations of our people. It is the tribunal of the masses of our people. Now, if Parliament is going to be relegated, denigrated in that way, it sort of undermines the aspirations of the people. It goes against the many people who stood on long queues on the 8th of May to vote for parties of their choice to represent them properly in Parliament.
Well, one would like to think that the State of the Nation address is a very important address.
Yes.
But previously, we've seen the EFF doing the same with former President Jacob Zuma.
And there are various things that have happened to cap that. One of the things that has happened through caucus in the past was to embolden the rules of Parliament so that they are able to deal with instances of such conduct. So now what we have seen now, it's a conduct that requires decisive action on the part of the leadership of Parliament. So we have called on the ANC in Parliament, working together with other peace-loving parties, to be able to deal with this thing in a manner that it does not replay itself in that way.
What do you think should be done, though? I mean, have you had any discussions as the ANC, or has your caucus had any discussions to just, perhaps even if it's to brainstorm, throw on?
Well, we have got a very able team of the caucus leadership led by the Wipari. We are quite comfortable, even including the political committee at the level of Parliament. We are quite comfortable that when they deliberate, the sort of suggestions that they will make on the measures that need to be taken to curb such conduct would be quite helpful to the work of Parliament. And we are hoping that other parties will also join the call by the African National Congress to make sure that Parliament is seen by all as the true representative of the masses of our people.
But did you not, in your deliberations, look at all the problems that plagued the fifth administration, and then said, this is how we're going to deal with these ones. This is how we're going to prevent this particular set of problems? Or did you take it for granted that with Jacob Zuma gone, there's a new dawn, and the things like what we saw yesterday would never happen again?
Well, but Vuyo, there is a team, there's the leadership of Parliament. I think like in any other organization, when you take over responsibility, the first thing you do is to do a diagnosis, get to understand what were the problems that existed in this institution, how were those problems addressed, and what sort of measures should be put in place to keep such instances from replaying themselves out. So we are quite confident that the caucus leadership of the African National Congress, working with other patriotic political parties, we are using the word patriotic because we believe that their stand of not being party to the intimidation and not participating in those acts show that they are peace-loving and believe that Parliament is a platform through which effective dialogue should be allowed.
Well, speaking of your caucus in Parliament, did you have conversations around what's happening in the Western Cape, for example? Because it's quite an about turn. Remember, for the longest time, your ministers insisted that given our history, given the role that the South African National Defence Force specifically plays or is mandated to play in terms of our constitution, it wouldn't be wise to take troops to the townships. But it's happening today.
Well, I am sure that in a conversation with the relevant departments, there could be some rationale on why the actions that are being undertaken have been considered. You see, because we might be sitting here not knowing the magnitude of the issues at play and what is intended to be resolved and why this intervention.
But it's a fundamental departure from what
Agreed.
the ANC has been saying all along, and I'm citing here, among other things, our history. The ANC kept on saying we have a history with soldiers in the townships, and it wasn't a pleasant one. And that's not something we would want to happen or to see happening again.
Yes, yes.
The ANC also said that the defense, members of the army are trained for very specific things, purposes. They can't be deployed to township and do what police. Is it perhaps then an admission that you failed to get the police to do what they're supposed to?
Well, but I wouldn't want to enter that space because I would want the relevant authorities to outline, maybe give insight on why this intervention was considered in the way that it was and what are the issues that it is seeking to resolve. Because all decisions that our own government has sought to implement in the past have always been in the interest of the people and to try and address a particular situation that might be presenting itself on the ground. I think that it is my contention that the rightful authorities could best provide clarity on why this consideration.
Before I let you go, I want to ask you about, we were watching earlier, before this interview, what is happening in Durban.
Yes.
Now, your members and who support, or your supporters who are on the side of the mayor there, say they are going to continue doing what they have been doing. They have broken no law, they have broken no ANC constitution. There is nothing wrong with supporting one of their comrades.
Well, Budvuyo, in the footage we saw, there was the provincial secretary who spoke on behalf of the province on the sort of measures that the party is taking. We have got an NEC of the ANC that is sitting later on this month. We expect, because we will also be dealing with numerous other issues, including annual reports of subcommittees of the ANC, because this is a normal NEC. We will also be getting reports on the state of the organization and provinces. One would expect that in that briefing, we'll also get a report from the province of KwaZulu-Natal on the developments in the province, including in eThekwini itself.
Remember, the promise here was that this would be resolved within 30 days.
Yes, yes.
That wasn't done. And you've also heard and seen calls from those who support the mayor saying the national office, headquarters, should actually get involved. And
well, the expectations are that when that time comes, the report, including the 30 days and all of that, those things would have to be part of the report that they table. We must, of course, express a concern as the African National Congress that encourage our members to use available platforms of the organization to deal with their problems. So that, you see, what you cannot be able to tolerate going forward is a culture that undermines organizational processes, a culture that doesn't recognize the existence of organizational platforms. When a letter is written to the National Executive Committee through the Secretary General's office, space should be created to allow the SGO working together with the collective to attend to such issues. Because we are a very democratic organization. Comrades are allowed to raise their own concerns. I mean, we receive comrades from various provinces who will march to Lituli House to bring this or that memorandum. And sometimes they do that disregarding their own lower structures, not going to a region, not going to a province. Now, it becomes difficult for us at national level to just enter there because the constitution of the ANC defines these different structures and the authorities that they wield. I mean, there's powers that are given to an REC where it doesn't exist and an RTT has been established. That RTT would be able to assume the authority of an REC. In the instance of a province, the same shall also happen. We expect that, so that when the issue comes to the head office, we are satisfied ourselves that all of these other processes of organization have been satisfied. And why is that important? It's important that your own dispute resolution mechanisms are informed. But we didn't just go there. At our conference in Nazareth, we also went as far as establishing the National Dispute Resolution Committee, which is led by the Deputy Secretary General. We did so because we wanted to create a platform that would give members of the ANC who might not be satisfied with how disputes are being resolved.
The dispute now threatening to collapse a municipality. That's for dispute resolution mechanism.
That's what I'm saying. But not only that, I was actually going to come to the second one. We even went as far as establishing even a rapid response team to make sure that this work is emboldened. I can tell you that the national officials and all other structures of the ANC assist with these matters. And once they've concluded and there's a message to be conveyed to the public, we'll be able to convey to them. I mean, we can assure cadres in KZN, in the Provincial Executive Committee, those that are raising concerns, that the ANC always rises and provides leadership when it is required to.
Did Jacob Zuma meet with Ace Magashule today?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not aware.
Are you encouraging members who want to go and support Jacob Zuma at the State Capture Commission on Monday to do so?
Well,
considering that your organization has been encouraging people to actually go and support the commission.
Well, when members of the ANC go there, whether they go to support the commission or they go to support whether it's individual leaders or those that are supporting.
You'll be cool with that?
No, it's not about being cool. I wanted to make a point that when people do it, they do it out of their own volition. What the ANC is not going to be doing, the ANC can issue statements saying, go, don't go. I mean, it's really not our place.
But we encourage them to go.
This is a democratic country.
But we encourage your members to go and support your former president when he appears before the State Capture Inquiry on Monday.
But I don't think that it is our place to really encourage or discourage members to do that. We can't, it's a democratic country. It's a democratic country. Individual members, when they go, they will be going in their own individual volition. When they don't go, they will also be exercising their own right. It is actually a matter of choice and preference. We can't enter that space ourselves. We have got a duty to lead the African National Congress.
So we're going to leave it. Thanks very much for coming through.